Hey Boulder, how's it going? Good. My name is Bekah, and I am a geek about juggling. Juggling is an art form that has been around since at least ancient Egypt, and today humanity wastes millions of hours per year on this very pointless skill. In fact, how many of you out there can juggle 3 balls? Nice! So maybe you learned in PE class, maybe it was just on your bucket list, and then I'm gonna take a wild guess, you never did it again? But then there are people like me who practice juggling nearly every single day. And today I'm gonna tell you some of the reasons why people love juggling so much. When I was in college, I used to relieve my stress and anger by counting in binary. But then I learned to juggle. And it turned out that juggling was much better. Not only is it more fun, but it's also challenging mentally and physically. I quickly found that juggling was a sport I'd always wanted. Not only is it a challenge, it's also non-competitive. You can use teamwork like these kids are showing here, or you can just use it to make yourself grow and get better. There's no way to win at juggling. You just keep going and getting better. Plus, it's great exercise. As we can see here, Boulder, if jogging alone is not enough for you, try juggling. Juggling is also a great mental exercise. German scientists did a really cool study on 12 non-jugglers that they watched for 3 months while they learned to juggle. And what they found was a 3 to 4% increase in gray matter in the brain. Now, since gray matter controls memory and sensory perception, this has led to further studies into whether or not juggling can actually help prevent the onset of Alzheimer's. This guy right here, my friend Bill, learned to juggle when he was 50 years old. And now that he's 71, he says juggling is still the most fun thing in the whole world. And you can see on his face how much he loves life. But I am in a room full of crazy smart geeks, so let's take it up a notch. Site swap theory is a mathematical juggling theory used around the world, and it uses numbers to describe the height of a throw in a juggling pattern. And we can use this to create an infinite number of new patterns. Here I started with a common pattern called 5-3-1, and to create a new pattern, I added the number 3, which is the number of integers in 5-3-1, and I created a whole new pattern that has 4 juggling balls instead of 3. And by the way, site swap was invented by a CU grad student. Now, there are other therapeutic reasons to juggle. This guy from Denver here originally learned to juggle as a way to overcome a fine motor skills impairment. He got so good at it that now he's a juggler for a living. A friend of mine from Kansas City learned to juggle as a way to battle schizophrenia. He found that learning new juggling patterns helps him keep the voices out of his head. And it's the best medication he's ever found. For me, juggling turned into a career, and there are tons of ways to turn this hobby into cash. Some of you may recognize the guy in the center there, Zip Code Man. He has, yeah, right? He's got a really kick-ass street show, doesn't he? He started out as a juggler, and that's what allowed him to travel all around the world as an entertainer. Speaking of worlds, we do know now that juggling is popular on other worlds as well, FYI. Now, one of my favorite things about juggling is the people that you meet. Most cities have a juggling club, and they're great places to meet like-minded people. Our juggling club has actually practiced, and we have a performance for you at intermission tonight. We actually wrote this performance just for you, so happy birthday, Ignite. Yeah, right? Jugglers are just regular people like you and me who aren't afraid to play and aren't afraid to act goofy once in a while. And we did have a blast writing our Ignite performance. We are going to drop a few times, maybe not as bad as that kid on the unicycle earlier in the show. Now, I have to brag. I met my fiance at a juggling convention. We're actually getting married in a few weeks, so we're going to keep exploring the boundaries of juggling together. By the way, if we're not cool enough to convince you that juggling is pretty sweet, here's some admirable role models in our world who are also jugglers. So, are we wasting millions of hours per year on a pointless skill? Why don't you try it yourself and find out? Maybe you'll find that joggling is less boring than jogging on its own. Maybe you'll find that juggling is a good way to de-stress at the end of a long, hard day at work. Or maybe, like me, you'll learn a very important life lesson, and that is that this word means nothing. It took me a long time to learn to juggle, but damn it, I got it. No matter how uncoordinated I was. If I can do it, you can too. And it taught me that I should never say this word in life. So if juggling is still on your bucket list, don't be like this guy and give up. Talk to me or one of the other jugglers after the show. We would be more than happy to teach you something new. Thank you so much for letting me geek out about juggling. Have a good night.